You know, when a youngster first displays an interest in sports, his parents will often try and provide some guidance, directing him toward baseball or football, maybe basketball. But who would ever suspect that some of these budding young athletes would wind up as professional wrestlers?
I found out wrestling was quite lucrative, and then I stuck with professional wrestling, and I never went back, and I don't regret it as of this day.
Ernie Ladd, the towering all-pro defensive tackle of the San Diego Chargers, Houston Oilers, and Kansas City Chiefs, retires after 8 seasons in the American Football League to become a giant in professional wrestling. Linebacker Wahoo McDaniel, number 54 for the Jets, who also played with the Oilers, Broncos, and Dolphins, turns in his football gear after 9 AFL seasons for a pair of Indian boots. And Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful, joined the wrestling ranks after a career at the University of Tampa, where the running back, number 40, played with Freddie Solomon and John Matusak.
I was 235 pounds and ran a 4.740, and you know I could do it just as good as anybody else. But I really chose this over that. It was always in the back of my mind. I always wanted to wrestle because I liked that one-on-one contact.
Paul Orndorff really was a good one, and you talk about Wahoo McDaniel, who's a great football player in my opinion. And then you got other wrestlers, you know, in other sports, like the weightlifter, the great Ken Butera. You know, he was an Olympic lifter. Then you have Steve Williams, who I thought was a great football player in college at Oklahoma, and also a great wrestler, 4 times All-American at Oklahoma. Then he's a professional wrestler right today. He's really great. So these are some of the men that I feel as though that were great athletes in professional wrestling.
But the big man will always be the king.
When you're 6'9" and weigh over 300 pounds and wear a size 17 shoe, that's not a foot that's big enough to cover the ground that you walk on. And then if your voice comes out a little bit, you can intimidate.
The Ernie Ladd that I've watched on television is an Ernie Ladd that completely dominated football in the 60s, was an all-pro defensive lineman. He came into the world of wrestling. I watched him come on TV. He talked slow. He intimidated the crowd. And that guy has some charisma.
You got it right, my friend. Ernie Ladd has charisma that talk the way he want to, walk the way he want to, and do the things that he desired to do. Anything else?
Number 74, Merlin Olsen, did what he wanted to do on the football field for 15 years. The all-pro Rams defensive tackle, along with his brother, was recruited by wrestling promoters with contract in hand and pens ready.
They had names all picked out. I mean, they'd figured this. My brother Phil, who's about the same size I am, is blonde-haired and blue-eyed. He was going to be the blonde grizzly, and I was going to be the Kodiak kid. And I think we were going to be good guys, but they were making a lot of promises. They were saying, you come and go to work, and within 2 years we'll have you on the top of the heap with the World Tag Team Championship. Now, I think they might have lied a little bit about that.
They might have stretched you just a little bit. Well, they talked big money, didn't they?
They did. In fact, when they initially contacted me, they were talking about a guarantee of $250,000 for like a 6-month tour. But I simply didn't have any interest in being away from my family that long. And that was the first giant negative that hit me.
Having taken his wrestling show on the road for some 2 decades and playing professional football for nearly 1, the King would have made some different moves if he could do it all over again.
I would wrestle. You know, that might seem harsh, but it is the truth. When I wrestle, if I had to make a decision between the 2 sports, I really loved wrestling. See, I was close to the people. I could control a crowd with my ability. I always felt that it was a personal challenge to be able to work the crowd up. I could put him in the palm of my hand. I could get him as mad as I wanted to get him. Then I could get him as mellow as I wanted to get him, you know. And this, to me, was always a great pleasure.